Welcome to the Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024 meeting of the Gloucester Conservation Commission. The time is just after 5:30. As amendments to the open meeting law allow, the Conservation Commission may continue to hold meetings remotely. Adequate alternative access to the meetings is provided through the Zoom link. As always, please continue to check the city calendar and updated agendas for login and call-in information. We'll start with a roll call of commissioners present. Member Charpentier.
Here.
Member Cook.
Here.
Member Paul. Member Sargent.
Here.
Member Kateri.
Here.
Member Bella.
Here.
And Member Jackson.
Here.
That's the quorum present.
Excellent. Okay, first up is administrative briefing. Chuck, anything to discuss at there?
We have another round of interviews for an assistant coming up in the next week or so, and hopefully be getting a replacement assistant agent in the near future.
Okay, thank you for that. Please notify me. I'm not sure if Aunt Joe or anyone else on the commission wants to join. We don't need everybody, but if someone else wants to join them, a meeting or two of those, let me know. But other than that, I would just keep Aunt Joe and I apprised of when you're meeting. I don't know if there's a list yet, Chuck, out for.
There is. I can send you the resumes of the folks that we're going to be interviewing.
That'd be great.
And Rob, I will not be there on Friday, but I can be there. I will be there on Wednesday.
Okay, great. All right, next up would be public comment. This is the period of the meeting where the public is welcome to speak towards conservation issues that are not, I repeat, not on tonight's agenda. If you'd like to speak, you may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 12 attendees and there are currently no hands up.
I will also say during this period, before I close the public comment period, that tonight all comments, there's going to be a 3-minute time period to allow. Again, we have a very big agenda as usual, so we don't want to burden ourselves any more than we have to in terms of having too many people speak at either at the same time or beyond the 3-minute period. That would be appreciated. Thank you. Okay, next up is minutes and review. Oh, let me close the public hearing. For the record, I closed the public hearing. Next up would be minutes review and approval, which at this time there's still tabled pending. Is that correct, Chuck?
That is correct. Yep.
Next up is emergency certificates, EC 2406, 63 Rogers Street, replacement of 7 piles, 3 caps to stabilize secure wharf structure. Lenny Linquata representing.
So yeah, Lenny's not able to make it this evening. Did speak with him yesterday, and he was expecting to wrap up that work today. It sounded like there were 5 piles that actually were completely broken that were replaced. He had to, I guess, kind of remove a section of the roof to get the piles through the restaurant and actually underneath the structure to get that work done. So that work should be complete as of today.
Okay. All right. Next up would be.
I guess it'd be good for you guys to ratify that emergency certificate, though.
Okay. And we should expect an NOI coming in?
I'm not sure if he's going to do an NOI. We are in the process of working with the harbor master and the building inspector to try to do a larger scale. There's been a couple in the past where it'll allow for replacement of existing piles in kind, and hopefully, for the entire DPA area.
Okay.
So if there's additional work that might fall into that, then you might do it under that, but there may be an NOI for additional work that's necessary before that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jackson moves to ratify emergency certification 2406 at 63 Rogers Street for replacement of piles and caps for stabilization.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Lettieri,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. Next up is notice of intent 028-3015, 91 Wing Sheep Road. This has been previously continued to November 11th. November 6th, 2024. Next up is notice of intent 028-2950, 160, 158R, 154A, Essex Avenue, Upper Banjo Pond LLC. They also are requesting a continuation, I believe.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 028-2950, 160, 158 rear and 154A Essex Avenue to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 6, 2024.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Lettieri,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, next up is notice of intent 30202 High Rock Terrace. They have requested to continue to, what is that, November 6, 2024.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 028-3020 at 2 High Rock Terrace to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 6, 2024.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Lettieri,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Next up is notice of intent 028-2976, 171 and 281 rear Magnolia Avenue, Almag LLC. I believe they're looking for a continuation as well.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 028-2976 at 171 and 281 rear Magnolia Avenue to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 6, 2024.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sergeant,
Yes.
Member Lettieri,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
All right, moving right along, notice of intent 028-2981, 139 Winged Sheep Road, Ernest Herman, for removal of unpermitted boardwalk on dune revegetation portions of existing path in coastal dune, land subject to coastal storm flowage, coastal beach, and land containing shellfish. Mary Rimmer of Rimmer Environmental Consulting LLC representing.
Good evening, members of the commission. Valerie Moore, Nutter McLennan and Fish, 155 Seaport Boulevard in Boston. At our last meeting with you, you will recall the only outstanding item was resolving the dune delineation on the site. Our environmental consultant, Mary Rimmer, who's logging on right now and should be able to join us in just a moment, was able to revise the dune delineation, and we believe it accords with what Chuck was recommending at the last meeting. That modification to the delineation does not change any of the resource area impacts. There are no changes to what's proposed as a result of that. I'll turn it over to Mary in just a moment for her to walk you through the changes that were made to the delineation and to show you that. I know that the plan was just filed today, but where it does not change the impacts and does not modify what's proposed at all, we are hopeful that the commission will still consider voting this evening. And we particularly want to remind the commission that part of what's proposed here is removal of the existing deteriorating unpermitted wooden boardwalk. We are quite concerned about the condition of that boardwalk, and although it's strange to say this on a 76-degree day, the winter storm season is rapidly approaching, and we do want to make sure that that's out of the coastal area before any winter storms come and create hazards from the materials that are present on the site. So we do hope that once, excuse me, once Ms. Rimmer is able to walk you through the dune delineation modifications, that we'll be able to address any other comments so that you may vote this evening.
Okay. Thank you for the preamble. Do we see Ms. Rimmer yet? Or?
I do not see her in the attendee list at this moment.
And so she did just message me to say that she is logging on right now, so she should be on in just a moment. And I believe we also, I think a question was asked last time about the more narrow strip of vegetation on the right-hand side of the proposed Moby mat. We did confirm that there's existing shrub growth that borders that. And I believe Ms. Rimmer has photographs that can show you that as well.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was having some trouble logging on.
No
Are you-
worries. Name and address for the record?
It's Mary Rimmer, Rimmer Environmental.
Okay.
And we are here for 139 Winger Chic, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay. And my understanding from the last meeting, I was not at the last meeting, but that there was some discussion about the resource boundary delineations. We had the plan updated. There was a question about the limit of land subject to coastal storm flowage. And it Chuck was correct. It was incorrectly notated on the plan. It's actually should be at elevation 19, which is the elevation of the V zone where it intersects the slope. And then we also added, oh, thanks, Chuck. This is the new plan that was submitted. We also added a coastal bank in red that's just above the coastal dune. This is a kind of a situation where we have a rocky headland that is extending out towards the beach. And it transitions to a coastal dune. So there is an area where there's dune that is mostly sediment, wind and storm wave action blown sediment, sand that covers over a portion of the headland, the rocky headland. But we tried to identify that area where it was mostly dune, and there's a transition area, but we identified the area that was primarily dune and has the ability to continue to function as dune and migrate, and the area that is locked in as bank. And that is some of that material was likely fill for the septic system that was installed there, but it's all lawn and it's no longer able to move. And it doesn't, there's not a windblown sediment that is on top of that area. So with those changes, I think it doesn't really change the layout of our project. We're still within 100% within coastal dune and land subject to coastal storm flowage. The bank is up higher on the slope, but for purposes of getting all the resources properly located on the plan and for any future project that might happen on this, to just clarify where all those resources are.
Okay, thank you. First up, I'll open up for public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at 139 Wingashiek Road may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 14 attendees and there are no hands up.
Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. Next up will be Commissioner roll call comment.
Member Sharpen's here. Looks like she has stepped away. Member Cook.
No, I'm really interested in what you have to say, Chuck. If you agree with these delineations, then I'm fine with it.
Member Sargent.
Yes, thank you for agreeing to not use any ATVs, on the beach. And that I would like a continuing condition that the ATV could only go as far as the end of the ramp or on the Moby mats. And I would like a 2-year monitoring, for the mitigation plantings, and I would like a condition that helical anchors for the ramp should not be placed too close to the edge of the dune to prevent slumping. Thank you.
Carried.
No comments.
Member Gullo,
No further comments.
Member Jackson.
Yeah, just a couple. I am not a huge fan of this project. I think if we're going to, I think Mr. Sargent's correct. We need a very strict standard that the vehicles go no further than the mat and ramp, and that there's to be no extension of the mat and ramp beyond what is in the orders of condition. I'm uncomfortable with the 5.5-foot ramp that they're replacing. And I think we need to stipulate why we're allowing this particular applicant to disregard the standards of CZM or the guidance of CZM. No further comments.
But we're missing someone still.
Looks like
Barry?
Here's away. Yeah.
Oh, Linda, is she back?
Oh,
But we can move ahead if I don't, or we want to wait a minute. I don't know what happened. She might have, I don't see her. Oh, wait, I do see her blurred out. Or is
yeah,
that-
we do have 5 commissioners active.
Yeah. So Chuck, how do you feel about the delineations?
Well, I'm glad that they moved the land subject coastal storm flowage to the correct elevation. To me, there's still a question of, what the sediment is above where they have the dune delineated. Because guidance from DEP and CZM is that if there is fill on top of a dune, if that fill acts as a dune during a storm event, if it moves around because of a storm event, then it will also be considered part of coastal dune. I have a tough time seeing that very thin layer of turf grass keeping that soil in place during a large storm event. We've seen how well it just eats away at the actual dune structure itself. I think that fill is going to act as dune and therefore should be delineated as dune up to the limit of land subject to coastal storm flowage. So currently they have it drawn further seaward, but again, I don't believe that grass is going to preclude that from acting as dune. I believe that dune line should be coincident with that green line for land subject to coastal storm flowage.
Okay. My only comment would be is obviously this is a complex site, a very complex site. I don't think, my question to fellow commissioners would be is, do we want to spend a little time, maybe one more meeting to review, obviously with the applicant involved, the details of the notice of intent in terms of all of our requests, requirements? Do we want to scrub through all that? Make sure we did the best we can to make this, like you just said, we have still some open-ended issues here that not so much technical, but I think we owe ourselves maybe a little bit more time to all review. You do basically a basic roundabout on the notice of intent and all the conditions and cycle it through all the commissions just for one more. It's a very complex site, and I'm concerned about it like everybody else, I guess. So we usually special notes, obviously, but I'm thinking we might want to go beyond that. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, commissioners.
One thing that some of the commissioners had brought up in previous meetings was restoring the grade of the dune through the existing pathway that's there now. That pathway is lower than the dune around it. And I think it was one of the comments from DEP as well that that dune form should be restored within the portion of the path there. prior to putting Moby mat on top of it.
Well, I would add that to the special conditions as well. And any other items we think protect the resource as best we can. I know we have a boilerplate for it, but I think we might want to go beyond boilerplate on this, that's all. And I'm not trying to be punitive. I know it probably feels like that to the applicant, but it's a really sensitive area and we really, really are trying to do the right thing.
Well, I think to address, as Joanne said, because we're allowing the larger boardwalk, that we put in the order of conditions that we have allowed the wider boardwalk to allow handicap accessible access via the ATV, and it's only to be used for handicap access. So
Well,
that so that if other people want to start walking down there, going down there and using it, they can't. That we are allowing the wider boardwalk for handicap accessibility only, and that the ATV will only be used for handicap accessibility as part of the conditions. I think that would address most of the issues that we have if we can put that in the order of conditions.
Does the applicant have a problem with that?
Can you just clarify, you mean the ATV for that only, not the ramp? The ramp itself would still be necessary to provide normal pedestrian access because of the start,
Yes, but,
steep
yes,
drop
but
off.
yes, but we want to put it in the order of conditions that we're allowing the wider ramp for the ATV that will only be used for handicap access.
The
Because we have
ATV, the ATV, not the ramp. The ramp is open to the household, but the ATV is only for handicapped access, right, Bill?
Right, because
Right.
we're allowing the wider ramp for the ATV. And that's the reason we're allowing the wider ramp. Other than that, it would be a 3-foot ramp. So we're allowing a wider ramp and for the handicap accessibility via the ATV.
I think you would, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I think you would have to tie that to some kind of resource protection measure. So, because you can't regulate the use, only the construction, of the structure itself. So if it was somehow linked to an additional impact from other people using it in the same way, I'm not sure that passes muster under the Wetland Protection Act, but I understand what you're saying, and that is, I believe, the intent of the property owner. They're just interested in, first of all, I just want to make the point that right now the boardwalk is still there and it's pretty badly degraded, and they're very much interested in getting it removed before this storm season. So another continuance would push that further down the line. So we're really trying to get this work done and get the planting done this winter when the dormant season and everything. So I'm hoping that we can push this forward if at all possible tonight. If it makes anything any easier, we can certainly agree to move the dune up to the land subject to coastal storm flowage line. That it doesn't really impact the project one way or another where that line is. It's a minor difference in it's a little bit larger in to the right side of the property, but very little along the base of the septic system. So I don't see that being a major hurdle, but I do think that having a condition that would regulate who could use a ATV might be tricky to to enforce
Yeah.
and tie to the Wetland Protection Act.
I hear you. Okay. Well, I didn't get any great response for continuing for basically getting more information on notice of intent in terms of extra conditions, but I would just say, I think you've heard enough from everybody, Chuck. I think if you go with the standard and the special, I think those should have enough protections in it, I would assume, based on other projects.
Do we want to base the issuance of the order of conditions on a redrawn map correcting the dune delineation?
I'm good with that. I think so. I can't hurt.
Yeah, it'd be good to have, you know, a recalculation of the impact area as well, you know, for the actual.
I don't think that will change because the Moby mat and the ramp are already in dune. It's all in dune. So moving the dune up won't change that.
I mean, it looks like a portion of the area that you have drawn for the Moby mat is not within where you currently have the dune delineation.
Okay, so we'll adjust that then.
All right.
I'd calculated the impacts, assuming it was all dune, so the whole thing.
I think we vetted this as best we can, unless anyone else has any other comments.
Did we want to address Chuck's concern about our previous comments on bringing the other part of the dune up to the restored height because it's lower with the walkway through it?
I believe that was agreed to in the last meeting. I remember raising that
That's
point.
fine.
Right.
Okay. Okay, you got all this, Chuck?
It's all being recorded, so.
Okay. All right.
All right, someone want to put forward?
Yeah, I will do that. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0282981 at 139 Wingersheep Road, based on the aforementioned discussion and orders of condition, including that the conditions will not be submitted or delivered until the map is redrawn according to the agent's request.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes,
Member Sergeant,
Yes, and I want to make sure natural heritage is in there too.
Member Rutier,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your
Try to
time.
bring an easier one next time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you all for your time. We do appreciate it. Take care.
Do we close the hearing?
Nope.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0282981 at 139 Wingersheep Road. Thank you,
Carpentier
Peter.
seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Sergeant,
Yes,
Member Rutier,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
okay. Now,
thank you again.
Thank you.
Good night.
night. Okay, next up is notice of intent 0283005 Four River Road, Hayes Stumpy, Four River Road LLC. They're looking for a continuation, correct?
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0283005 at 4 River Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 6th, 2024.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Sergeant,
yes,
Member Rutier,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, next up would be notice of intent 0283006 105 Wingersheek Road, 125 Wingersheek LLC. I believe they're requesting a continuation as well as notice of intent 107 Wingersheek Road.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0283006 at 105 Wingersheek Road and NOI 0283007 at 107 Wingersheek Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 6th, 2024.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Sergeant,
yes,
Member Rutier,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Next up is notice of intent 0283019 32 Stillington Drive, John Carey. I believe they're requesting to not to
Withdraw without prejudice.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson moves to allow the applicant for NOI 0283019 at 32 Stillington Drive to withdraw the notice of intent and the project without prejudice.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes,
Member Sergeant,
Yes,
Member Lettieri,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes,
Member Jackson.
Yes. Do we need to close the public hearing for that one, Chuck?
Yes,
Yeah,
Probably.
okay. Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0283019 at 32 Stellington Drive.
Charpentier seconds.
roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Sergeant,
yes,
Member Lettieri,
Yes.
Bella,
yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, next up is notice of intent 0283022, Three Kirk Road, Greg Souza, to raise and rebuild existing home and installation of pool, relocation of existing pier, riverfront, buffer zone to coastal resource areas, John Judd Gateway Consultants, Inc. representing. That wasn't continued, was it?
No, just for the commissioners, for this one, commission is just going to be voting on the actual acceptance of the delineation. They will be going to the zoning board to try to seek relief from the floodplain overlay district.
Okay. All right, Mr. Judd, did you want to comment on?
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you. For the record, John Judd, engineer with Gateway Consultants, as indicated by Chuck. And you may have, thank you, Chuck. It sounds like you may have, just to bring you up to speed, this is the first project that I'm aware of that's come before the board for an expansion in the flood zone under the new floodplain ordinance that the city enacted earlier this year. So the applicant is proposing to rebuild a single-family house on this property with some other improvements, which we'll get into when the meeting is continued. But the protocol that I believe Chuck and General Counsel have worked out is that before it goes to Zoning Board of Appeals for any kind of relief request under the new ordinance, that the resource areas be ascertained or confirmed by this board prior to the relief request to the ZBA, which will take place should this be accepted as shown. And very briefly, the resource areas shown here are land subject to coastal storm flowage, which is the entire site is below elevation 13. You may recall there was some discrepancy on the FEMA maps, and we've agreed with Chuck that the entire site is below elevation 13 and therefore is subject to the land subject to coastal storm flowage. And there's other resource areas. Chuck asked that we survey locate the marsh grass, which we've done. Thank you for showing that. And obviously we have a riparian zone. This is all within the 200-foot riparian zone to Mill River. So that's a very brief description, and I can answer any questions you might have.
Okay, I'll open up for public comment. Anybody who wishes to speak for or against the project on Kirk Road may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 13 attendees and there are currently no hands up. Oh, we have one hand up. I'm sorry. Michelle's iPad.
Michelle?
Yeah. So I'm Michelle. This is my husband, Bob Cahill at 33 Hodgkin Street. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're abutters of Greg Souza. And I have talked to Chuck about this before. There is a situation at the bottom of Kirk Road where there's a
outfall.
Yeah, a storm outfall that goes directly into the marsh, which I think I know is contributing to the erosion of the area underneath Greg Souza's pier. And now it's reaching over to my pier too. So that's my concern right now, is that any any kind of construction of a new pier is just going to increase that erosion. And I've been, kind of banging my head trying to figure out a solution to this problem, because I know that outfall is necessary at the bottom of Kirk Road, but the fact that it ends before the marsh is a problem, a big problem, really. So I just wanted to voice that first and foremost.
Okay, we appreciate that. And we'll talk to the applicant right now about it. Okay, Mr. Judd? you
Yeah,
wanna-
yes. The outfall that the Cahills are describing actually discharges on the neighboring property. So this subject property that Mr. Souza owns is in between the Cahills and what was formerly, or it could be still in the family of the Moody family. I'm not sure. You can see it's, I guess now we're formerly Davis. And then Chuck has that shown there. So that was survey located. It's a 12-inch diameter pipe. There's a catch basin that's out in Kirk Road. The city has been notified of this, and I think the Cahills, they're absolutely correct. There's erosion happening during storm events. Greg is concerned about it as well. He doesn't want this, erosion on his, dumping across his property either. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but there's not much we can do because it's not on our property.
I'm just curious, is what's this neighbors said happening? Is it because are they the more impacted than Souza or not?
I would say they're not as impacted as Greg Souza's property. He's directly the victim of this, and he would love to have that rectified, but it's not on his property. He actually asked me to make that come up with a solution and to make that another activity on this notice of intent. I said, there's not much we can do without it being on your property. This would be the Davis's, application.
Okay. Chuck, is anyone else with their hand up?
There are no other hands up this time.
Okay, seeing none, hearing none, close public comment period. I will go to Commissioner roll call comments, Chuck.
Member Charpentier,
No comments?
Member Cook,
I do have a question, kind of unrelated because it's not on the property, but who owns that catch basin and the drain? Is it city owned? And what are we actually going to vote on tonight?
so the vote is only going to be on the actual delineation tonight. They'll have to come back for the rest of the discussion after they receive relief from the zoning board.
Okay,
To answer the question about the catch basin and the drain pipe, there was a proposal. The years escaping me, but it's goes back at least 10 years, I believe, where the city was looking into it. The current owner of the property where the pipe is did not want the work to be done. And the city determined that that's a private road and a private catch basin, a private pipe. And so therefore the city wasn't going to pursue it anymore. So it's all privately owned there, but it was proposed at one point to be extended out past the salt marsh.
Okay.
Member
Okay.
Sargent.
So what we're doing is essentially an NRAD, today?
It's just part of the process to submit an NOI.
Right. So essentially it's an NRAD
With an ORAD, right?
or an ORAD, right?
Right.
Okay,
We
Thank you.
got no other option at this point, and we have to wait till they go to ZBA to get the full Monty. so-
okay. I'm just trying to wrap my head around, this odd shaped NOI.
Yeah,
Well,
and I guess
I think John could go into it more. He's probably dealt with it more, but it's got to do with these new regs. They're just, Chuck's been dealing with it too. It's making it very complex, and I hope it gets clarified soon because it's going to be a big problem going down the road, not just for us, but for people who live in the city too.
Member Materi?
Take 5 minutes, Chuck, and explain what the new regs are that are causing this problem.
It's the floodplain overlay district. It's a new zoning regulation. That is designed to not allow any additional residential construction in the V zone and to limit new construction or expansion within the A zone. So, and that would have to seek relief from the zoning board since it's a zoning regulation.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Member Materi, did you?
Yeah, I mean, I think procedurally, I guess, I think it's pretty standard that we can issue an ORAD off of an NOI. I don't think it requires a separate ANRAD filing. My question is, if we do issue an ORAD, it's good for 3 years, but does that mean the public hearing is closed as well, and they have to go through zoning, and then once they come back from zoning, you have to file a new NOI, or does this NOI remain open and we continue it?
Yeah, I believe the NOI would just stay open. It's just, part of the process of the NOI is approving the delineation of the actual resources. So we're just stopping at that point for now to see if relief is granted at the zoning board. If not, I assume this will be withdrawn.
All right.
Or
We have done that with other projects.
Yeah, and then the ORAD again could get extended, correct? If it got close to the 3-year period?
Well, it wasn't submitted as an ANRAD, so it wouldn't receive an ORAD. It's just that the delineation's been approved. And that delineation would,
Carried, I get it. Okay.
Member Bella
Nothing else at this time.
and Member Jackson.
No, nothing else at this time.
Okay, then with that, I guess we gotta either move to approve the
Does the agent have any comments?
up to date.
Does the agent have any comments?
No, I think with the change to where the A zone is shown and the addition of the showing the salt marsh area, I believe that all the resources are shown accurately in the delineation.
Okay. Then Commissioner Jackson moves to approve the resource area delineation for NOI 0283022 at 3 Kirk Road, as shown in the plan of, what's the revision?
Revised
10-10-24.
10-10-24.
Yeah, 10-10-24.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes,
Member Surgeon,
Yes,
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes,
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you. We appreciate your patience while we work through the new ordinance process.
Do we have to vote to continue as well?
Yeah, we'd like to, I guess that would be up to the applicant to request. It's probably going to take ZBA. We're ready to file. They wouldn't accept the application until this process has been completed. So it's going to be at least 4 weeks. So looking into the future, I don't know if anyone has a calendar
be
handy.
November 20th.
That would be optimistic.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the first one in December?
I think so. I think that would be wise that we're not cluttering it up.
So that would be December 4th.
Thank you.
okay.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0283022 at 3 Kirk Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of December 4th, 2024.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Surgeon,
yes,
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes,
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
thank you. Okay. Next up is 33 Condolin Road. Did that DP number drop, Chuck?
It did very late, just after 5 o'clock this evening, and I believe somebody was going to be joining us. Let me see. Yeah, Tom Bell said he was going to be joining the meeting. I don't see him in there yet, so maybe we could table this one until, unless somebody else is here to speak for 33 Condon Road.
This is the Beaver Deceiver, right?
Yes. Yeah,
How did we leave it at the last meeting?
what's that?
How did we leave? Didn't we discuss the Beaver Deceiver at the
We
last?
did. We did, yeah. So there was several continuing conditions that Member Materi had gone through and were agreed to by the applicant, and we were just, I believe, waiting for the NOI number.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to continue no matter what.
Unless the commission's okay approving it in their absence, or we can table it to see if one of them shows up.
I don't have
think
a problem with the Beaver Deceiver, but
yeah.
I'm open to comments.
We really had just continued it for the DEP number, so my suggestion would be to table it, and if they don't show up, we can deal with it then. I don't have any problem approving it. Our discussion was pretty complete.
Let's go to the next one.
Table it, move ahead. We can always circle back.
Okay.
Okay, so next up would be notice of intent. Do we have this DEP number?
Yes, that one is 3024.
So notice of intent 20028 3024 25 Niles Pond Road, Ellie and John Morris, installation of a new electrical service in buffer zone, the bordering vegetated wetland. John Judd of Gateway Consultants Inc. representing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Once again, John Judd representing the applicant at 25 Niles Pond. This is, you may recall, we gave a description. We were just looking for the DEP file number for this subsurface relocation of the electric service on the property. So we're coming in off of a National Grid extension within Niles Pond Road. The existing transformers behind the house in the wetland area, so we're going to be eliminating that. There was some questions about how that would be replaced, and I think it's in the record that we had no problem replicating that with the local wetland plants in that area, just to replace that existing pad, have that removed by hand, and so we saw no issue with that. We did get the file number as Chuck has indicated.
Yep, 3024, got it. Okay. Next up, I've just opened up for public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for the project at 25 Niles Pond Road may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 13 attendees, and there are no hands up this time.
Okay, seeing none, hearing none, a closed public comment period. Roll call commissioner comments.
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Cook,
No additional comments.
Member Sargent,
Yeah, all dewatering must be adequately treated before being discharged.
Member Materi,
No comments.
Member Gullah,
No comment.
and Member Jackson.
No comment. Can we
Okay.
move forward?
Yep.
Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0283024 at 25 Niles Pond Road.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sargent,
Yes,
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0283024 at 25 Niles Pond Road with previously discussed conditions and is documented, including the treatment of any dewatering.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sargent,
yes,
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, doesn't look like you're leaving us just yet. Notice of intent to the 028661 Woodwood Avenue. Did we get a number for that, Chuck?
I have not seen them yet. Trying to be good response.
No, they cashed our check September 27th. I've emailed them twice, and when I say them, it's the state DEP. Little disappointed here because this is another ZBA application that they're running concurrently here. But I think we had I can give a brief description about all the changes that were changed. Were very minor changes. Mr. Viteri asked that we move the mitigation planting across the street, which we've taken care of. And we've added some minor revisions to the stormwater runoff, but essentially we're just, and oh, I'm sorry, and Joe asked that we itemize the parameters of 1058, which we've included in the package. So you should have that indicating the redevelopment standards are met. Other than that, we're just looking for a DEP file number. I can answer any questions you might have.
Okay, again, we don't have a number, so it's hard to do much, but I can open up for public comment, see if anybody's out there
You want
concerned.
to go to next week? Next meeting?
Yeah, I certainly hope they're going to give us a file number for next meeting. Thank you.
Well, let me open up for public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at 61 Woodward Avenue may do so now by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
Currently, we have 13 attendees and there are no hands up.
Seeing none here, none, close the public comment period. Yeah, we're gonna probably have to continue this, unfortunately. It'd been nice to get it off, but we don't have a number, we don't have a number.
No. You want to continue to November 6th? Did we finish commissioner comments? Did we do commissioner comments?
Nope. Why don't we just roll through them, Chuck?
Member Sharp is here.
No comments.
Member Cook,
No comment.
Member Sargent,
Additional comments from what I had last time.
Member Terry,
I didn't get a chance to look at the new submittal, so I'll reserve comments until next week, since we're continuing anyway.
Member Bella,
No comment.
Member Jackson.
No comments.
All right, sir, we'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 028 unassigned DEP number at 61 Woodward Avenue to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 6, 2024.
Carpenter seconds.
Roll call, Member Sharp is here.
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Good. Next up, new business. We have extension 0282422, 29 and 34 Marvel Road. We also have extension 2486, 29 and 34 Marvel Road. Extensions, I should say. Right. Anyone here, Chuck, for that?
Yes, Barney Lichtenstein should be promoting the panelist here.
All right. Here it comes. There we go.
Hello.
Hello, Barney. Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, can you see me or just hear me?
I can just hear you. I can't see you.
Okay. So I'm in a public setting right now, and I'm in LA where it's only 3:30 in the afternoon. I can be somewhere where it's a lot quieter in a minute. Is it possible to do one other piece of business and come back to this in a couple of minutes? Or did you need to? If you need to talk to me now, I'll be glad to talk to you. It's just I'm in a noisy spot right now.
It would be ideal if we could just go ahead right now, but if you.
Okay. Okay, let's do it then. Hold on just 1 second, please. Hello, sorry, I'm back. Yes, sorry about that.
No worries. I need your name and address for the record though, sir.
My name and my address here is Barney Lichtenstein, 4412 Finley Avenue, number 2, Los Angeles, California, 90027.
Okay, your reason for the extension. Hello, did you freeze on us? I think we lost him.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Your reasons for the extension.
Oh, the last 2 years, I've had some financial difficulties because I was deciding whether I want to try to build or sell the land. And I was looking into what it might cost to try to build on it in terms of getting a loan, in terms of dealing with the practical issues of it. And I've decided I'm going to sell it. And there's some things I still need to do, though. My wife, so it's a long story, but my wife can't work right now because she had long COVID and was a nurse. And so our income went down. And as a result, I just got set back in a lot of things I wanted to do in terms of trying to get the land ready for sale. So I'd like to just extend it and look ahead to selling the land. And
Okay,
I'd like to get an extension because it can still take time to get these things done. And I know real estate, if it's on the market, can sometimes sit there for months. At least that's what I've been told. I'm very sorry about all the noise, by the way.
no worries. Okay, so do you want us to do it? We'll extend it for 1 year. Is that good?
Well, I was hoping we could do it for 3 because no construction's actually been started. If that's possible, then I know the other thing is it makes it easier to sell because, buyers know that if buyers know that I only have a year, then it makes it harder for me to negotiate because they know that, quite frankly, I may be more eager to get rid of it because of the extension being shorter. So, but I can assure you that I'm going to get going on it right away. If I could get the 3-year extension, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Let me open it up for public comment. We do public comment for extension, Chuck? I don't even remember.
We typically don't do it.
I can't hear you, Chuck.
We don't usually do it for extensions.
Okay. So why don't you do roll call?
Member Carpentier.
No comments.
No comments.
Member Sargent.
I note that the first time was 2016. It seems like 3 years is a little excessive if you want to, sell the property.
Member Materi.
Well, I understand. 2016, there were still some issues that had worked out in terms of my mother was still alive at that time, and there were issues going on with my brother, who I don't want to get into TMI, but who's bipolar. He's made that public actually as part of his. He does documentaries on mental health, and ironically, he has it himself. And at that time, I was still linked to dealing with him. So then, it got extended, and then my mother passed away in 2018. And well, actually, didn't get extended. It was 2016. Then my mother passed away in 2018, and I bought the land from him at that time. So at that time, I felt I could now really sell it. I couldn't deal with him and deal with possible issues with realtors and things like that with him.
Okay, so we gotta wrap this up.
So then COVID hit. Then 2018, and then COVID hit, and that's another big reason it got extended. So I do understand. It seems like a long time. I assure you, this is the last time I'll ask for an extension if I could get to 3 years.
Okay.
Member Materi.
Commissioner roll call comments, Chuck?
Yep. Member Materi.
No comments.
Member Gullah.
No comment.
Member Jackson.
My only comment is I don't have a problem with the 3 years just because if somebody buys the land, I think the likelihood of them accepting the current plans are probably very low, just because everybody has their own taste, and we'll be seeing this come back in.
Well, when you say current plan, you mean the design of the house or the,
Yeah,
or what
yeah.
you've approved?
Yes.
Okay. Chuck, next.
That's it for commissioner comments.
Okay. All right, so it looks like we're okay with 3 years, so why don't we move it?
Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for, did we, yeah.
No, we didn't have a hearing for the extension.
Well, we've talked about it in public. Doesn't that qualify as a hearing, Chuck?
It's a public meeting, but not a public hearing.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve a 3-year extension for 0232422 at 29 and 34 Marble Road and 0282486 at 29 and 34 Marble Road, based on the previous discussion.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, member Charpentier,
Yes.
member Cook,
Yes.
member Sargent,
Yes.
member Terry,
Yes.
member Bella,
Yes.
member Jackson.
Yes.
All right, sir, you're all set.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, moving ahead, we're on RDA 1816, 148, 150, and 152 Bray Street, Christopher McCarthy. Is this one continued?
Nope.
Okay.
Mr. McCarthy is here. Says he's declined to be panelist. So it's on the top.
Hello,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Chris McCarthy, 166 Bray Street in Gloucester. I filed a RDA to, after meeting with the fire chief and the DPW director for the city of Gloucester, getting an approval and restricting 12 acres to 2 lots. The fire chief wanted some improvements that I'm going to have to work in conjunction with the DPW director to improve a gravel road and keep it as a gravel road, a crushed stone, move a municipal gate that was installed down about just over 400 feet, close to where there's a pipe or water that crosses over Bray Street, and really widen within the road, the public roadway itself, the ability for emergency apparatus to get down, which really keep basically the same grade. And some places might need to raise or lower it, but install basically processed gravel. And wondering if you might have some questions. Thank you.
Okay. First up, I'll open up for public comment. Anybody who wishes to speak towards the RDA 1816, 148, 150, 52 Bray Street may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 11 attendees and we have 1 hand up.
Mr. Mortellaro?
Yes, are we connected?
Yep, you're up. Name and address for the record.
Yes, this is Patty Page, 3 Tidal Cove Way, in representation of the property that abuts this, 173 Concord is the formal address. The relocation of the gate, I'm not exactly clear how he described it, but what I would like to state is there is a surveyed stake 500 feet down, located on the road on the right. And Mr. McCarthy and I did have a I don't want to say formal agreement, but we did have a discussion where that gate would be. And we both agreed that it wouldn't go beyond that staked area. Because the wetlands down below is on this property 173. I just would like to preclude the gate from being any closer to it than necessary. I understand that the gate needs to be moved, but I'd like to make sure that if we can kind of condition this not to go past that 500 feet stake, that would keep it the furthest away from that wetland. And I thought part of this presentation today was to discuss the locations of the incoming utility poles. That didn't seem to be addressed, or that's not part of this.
It's not showing up on our explanation or basically what it's here as a project.
Yeah.
to be-
Yes, it is, Rob.
Well, it's located on the plan of the map, so is that something that needs to come in front of us? I have no objection to the way it's displayed on this plan. It's all on the Souza and McCarthy property. However, if that were to change, I was just a little surprised on a presentation this scope that some agreement or kind of plan from National Grid wasn't sent in. So unless there's a substantial change and it has to be located onto the 173 property, I have no objection, but I don't know how to monitor that from here if you approve this.
Well, anything that moves out of the original plan, which I just saw the plan, it seems to all be there. But if something ever moves onto it that impacts the resource area, the applicant would have to come back before us if that shifts or gets impacted in any way. I'm assuming that's why he's here tonight, is to tell us he's got to move it because the city's making him move it. I could be wrong, and therefore they need to shift it to a different location.
Yeah, no, it's not the gate so much. I think, I can't tell where he's depicted it on this plan, but again, our mutual understanding was not more than 500 feet, and there is a stake there. It's the utility poles, if they were to move, if National Grid is to come in and say, well, the better location is onto the, the Montalaro property, I'm not clear if that needs to come in front of the board again, if it's a formal change or not. I'm just trying to protect our side of it, so.
Understood. We're here to protect the environment, and if there are any changes that change the original application in a way that affects the resource, they would have to come back to us and show us those changes. Whether it's National Grid, whether it's a gate, which is why we're here tonight, probably, it would have to come before us. So you should be notified if something happens to the resource.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other hands up, Joe?
That is the only hand up at this time besides Mr. McCarthy's.
All right, we can let Mr. McCarthy speak.
So the plan that I submitted, it shows I'd call it on the east side of Bray Street. The poles will be located on what would be the west side of Bray Street. And they'd be in the traveled way. I wouldn't ever think of putting them on someone else's property without asking them. But we will be on the opposite side of the street from where Vince and Patty live. With regards to the gate, we definitely, Patty and I had some discussions as to where to locate it, and we'll meet out there. And the city wanted to put it there, and I think if anything, it'll be moved slightly away from the wetland area. If anything, up would be sort of up. It's a slight incline. It would be up a little bit, as to allow if kids are there on motorbikes or anything, that they'd have a better vision of it coming from Concord Street down. They'll be able to see it. So want the ability, and I think this, discussing with the city, they'll want to be there while it's being done. And I think part of it is that I'll pay for it on my two brothers. These 2 lots are for my 2 brothers, is that they'll pay for its relocation and the city will actually be the ones moving it. But it's only going to be, in my discussions with Patty, it might be 5 feet, 5 feet to 10 feet sort of uphill away from the wetlands, if anything. If given the flexibility to do that, that'd be great with the Conservation Commission to move it further away from the wetlands. Also, where it's slightly out of the buffer, but where the driveway is where also there's a 8-inch water main that goes from Concord Street to Atlantic Street. We'll be tapping into that and bringing up probably one larger water service onto the private property and then split it into 2 single water services further on the property out of the buffer zone.
Okay. You want to do roll call commissioner comments, Chuck?
One other thing is I plan on the entire east side of putting the siltation fence along the whole side. I might not have put that clear on the plan, but that's going to be the entire length. And also as it goes down towards the construction close to the gate at the east end, I'll have the siltation fence going across Bray Street temporarily while that construction is going on.
Okay, you all set? Can I move? Can I move? Go? Can we move on, Chris?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Ms. Page's hand was up again. I don't know if we're going to allow her to speak again or the commissioner comment.
As long as it's related to conservation, you can hear me.
It will.
Hello?
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the clarification on the gate, and you understand it's a formal process, so I feel I do have to weigh in. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, roll call commissioner comments, Chuck?
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Cook,
No comments.
Member Sargent.
Yeah, I note that the fire department required some ledge removal and removal of overhanging trees, which creates 2 questions. I'm wondering if there's going to be any blasting and how much and what kind of vegetation will need to be removed within buffer zones, and all dewatering must be adequately treated before being discharged.
I would with
Just
regard.
commissioner comments only right now, Chris. Hold
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Member Chair.
The wetlands that seem to be the relevant ones are noted on the plan that they are delineated by others. I'm wondering if you have the date of when those wetlands were delineated and whether or not those delineations are still valid within our 3-year period. And which side of the road is all of the sort of widening going to take place? Is that going to be on the north or west side away from the wetland, or on the side closest to the wetland?
Member Bell.
No further comment.
Member Jackson.
Yeah, a few comments. I can see where the gate is being relocated. It would be nice to, when you come in, you don't have an order of conditions on this. It would be nice to know where the utility poles are going to be located and where the fire hydrant is going to be located. You mentioned removing overhanging trees and removing ledge. I echo Mr. Sargent's comment. Is it going to be blasting or is this ledge chipped? And how many trees are coming down? And I'm the last one, so you get to talk again.
Yes, I believe I've had an initial walk with the Nick from National Grid out there, and there's going to be some definitely some tree trimming, and there'll be probably and all of the work will be on the away from the wetland side where the poles are going. There'll be probably 3, I think it's 3 trees that need to be removed on the west side, and trees that are over 6 inches going to be removed, and some other ones will need to be topped pretty well. So I can have some type of agreement that replant those in 3-to-1 or 2-to-1, whatever is required. And with regards to blasting, I definitely have to do some ledge removal on this one corner. And that I'm going to try to be able to do it without blasting, either by hammer drill or doing it with a they call deck span and expanding. You basically drill into the granite, and you put it in, it expands, and it cracks the ledge, and then hammer drill it out afterwards. As much as I can, I try to stay away from blasting. And I would say that if I had to come, if for some reason that we had to blast, then if there was a requirement, I could come back and file a notice of intent to do that if we're going to have to do any kind of blasting out there. There was a lot of blasting that went through there when they put the water line in, but there's just one corner that's narrow that definitely needs to be taken out, and it looks like it's basalt. So I think we're gonna have to do some drilling and chipping at the very, we're gonna at least have to do that.
Is just kind of as a follow-up, Commissioner Jackson again, is there any vegetation that's going to be disturbed that would need to be restored?
No, it's within the roadway. There's a traveled way that's been there since the 1600s, and it goes from the rock wall on the east side, and it just runs up onto the left side where there's another wall up on the hill. So there's.
Okay. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind replacing the trees, I would be okay with 1-to-1 replacement. You're not in riverfront, so I'm okay with that.
That wouldn't be a problem, and I can put a note in for that and submit that as well.
Okay.
All right. Chuck, anything to add to this?
Nothing that hasn't been covered.
Okay.
Okay, then Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for RDA 1816 at 148, 150, and 152 Bray Street.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves for a negative determination for RDA 1816 at 148, 150, and 152 Bray Street, with the conditions that trees be replaced on a 1-to-1 basis, and that if any ledge has to be removed by blasting, the proper permits will be secured.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Yes.
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Terry,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next up, notice of intent, no DEP number for the 29 Barrington, Chuck, or?
It did actually drop today. It is 3025.
3025. Okay, so next up is notice of intent 028 3025 29 Barrington Avenue, aka 12 Grace Cove. We have Eric Burnoff, construction of an elevated boardwalk and bordering vegetated wetland and coastal dune. Eric Bernhoft representing. Can you hear me, Eric? Hello, Eric. You might want to unmute yourself. You gotta unmute yourself. Hello, Eric. Do you see him out there, Chuck? Is he there?
He's on the screen. He's muted. I don't know if he's away from his computer at the moment or something. We could put him on hold. It looks like Tom Balk has joined if we wanted to circle back to 33 Conlin Road and then try Eric. Again,
why don't we do that?
Eric is going back as an attendee and I'll promote Tom.
Rob, do you want to go back to Condon Road?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on my stupid notes here.
You want me to introduce it?
Yes, please.
We'll take up NOI 028 unassigned DEP. No, we have a DEP number. We don't know what it is, right?
3026.
3026?
Yes.
Okay, NOI 0283026 at 33 Condon Road, Taylor Hedges for replacement of beaver deceiver in land underwater body and bordering vegetated wetland. Tom Balf, EDIC representing.
Tom, you there?
I am here.
Name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Thomas Balf, BALF, 15 Briarwood Court, Gloucester, Mass.
Okay. Where are we at from last week or 2 weeks ago?
So it turned out that I had inadvertently sent the NOI to the wrong address. That has obviously been done correctly now, and the DEP has assigned a number, which was why it was tabled last time. There was no number, and DEP has confirmed that it's that the EDIC, as a sort of a representative of the city, is exempt from the fee. So it's my understanding that it's ready to be taken up by this commission.
Okay. You want to give a brief description of the project again, please?
Sure. So Conlin Road, Cape Ann Industrial Park, there has been a beaver population there for a long time. We had originally received a license to install a beaver deceiver back in 2007, I believe. We've been maintaining it annually, but our consultants that do the annual maintenance say that it's so clogged and damaged that it really needs to be not just repaired, but replaced. So the NOI is to the city that put together the drawings for us, that they would sort of remove this, and then we would install a similar beaver deceiver a few yards away, but because the beaver population has moved a little bit, but in the same general area. And the intention of this is simply to make sure that the lower part of Condon Road and Cape Ann Industrial Park doesn't flood. So that
All right.
is.
I'll open up for public comment. Does anybody in the public wish to speak towards the project at Condon Road? If so, for or against the project at Condon Road, you may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 7 attendees and there are no hands up.
Seeing none, hearing none, close public comment period. Commissioner roll call comments.
Member Charpentier.
No comments.
Member Cook.
No comments.
Member Sergeant.
Yeah, I want to make sure that there's no heavy equipment going to go into the wetlands. Thank you.
Member Terry.
No comment, just incorporate my conditions from last week.
Member Bell.
No further comment.
Member Jackson.
No further comments.
All right, I guess we can move.
Yep, Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0283026 at 33 Condon Road.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call. Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Member Sergeant.
Yes.
Member Terry.
Yes.
Member Bell.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0283026 at 33 Condon Road with the aforementioned conditions, including that there will be no heavy equipment in the wetlands.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes,
Member Sergeant,
Yes,
Member Viteri,
Yes.
Member Bella,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, sir, you're all set.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, next up is going back to Barrington.
Yes. Although I don't see Mr. Bernhoft in the attendee list anymore.
If everything's all right with him. Well, maybe we roll through our other stuff and see if he pops up while we're finishing up our certificates of compliance.
Sure.
Okay, first one's RCOC 0282795, Drumhack Road, Eastern Point. How's that one look?
That one, obviously with the number like 795 happened quite a while ago. Site is stabilized. It was a septic installation. So that one was fine.
Okay, great. Next up is RCOC 0282165. Oh,
Did you guys want to move that one or vote on it?
want to do it individually? Sure.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Jackson.
leave the
Commissioner
other
Jackson.
two discussion, so, sorry.
Okay. I'm going ahead, right? Okay. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve our COC 028795 at Drumhack Road / Eastern Point.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell. Sorry, Member Sergeant,
yes,
Member Viteri,
Yes.
Member Della,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, now we go on to RCOC 0282165, 2 Fortune Lane.
Yeah, so on this one, I had mentioned to,
Yeah, you sent a flag or something saying,
yeah, there's some discrepancies on the proposed plan and the as-built. Let me pull those up here.
the applicant's here.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, John Judd. For the request for this certificate, this is a project that many of you may remember. This is, there's 2 lots on this property. One is vacant, closer to Plum Cove Beach. And we had submitted the original planting plan that was approved in 2016. Looks like Chuck's bringing it up. Okay, yeah, this is the proposed. Thanks, Chuck. And we had 93 plant species that were listed there. They were proposed by, we had that originally specified by Gardenscapes. And I'm trying to remember her name. Karen Blake, Garden Rhythm Design. So she had specified all these native plants in here, as well as here and back here on the lot across Fortune Lane. Everything was put in not exactly per that because we had some issues with ledge, but we, in my opinion, we enhanced those with additional plantings. And here's the as-built. Thanks, Chuck. And so what we did is we eliminated a lot of the sitting area here. There's just a small sand covered area here that was proposed to be stone. It's like hardscape. It's not hardscape, it's just sand. We do have a dry stack wall that's significantly smaller than what was approved. And all these plants were put in associated with this project. The question that Chuck, I guess I'll let Chuck speak to that, but this area right here, in this area right in here, I think, or where Chuck, I'm sorry, right in here, or where Chuck had some questions or concerns about that, whether that was planted in accordance with the approved plan. And before we get to I have some photographs. This is all existing hedge here, and it's right on a fairly steep slope that goes down here. So we didn't want to really modify that or take that out and disturb that slope because it really does a good job stabilizing that slope. And then over here, we have a large locust tree with euonymus. I think that was the word John Feener used, that climbs up that tree right here, and it's really done well. And I believe it's a native line, and he recommended that all stay there. So we had proposed, I think maybe 5 hydrangea right here, and that euonymus and the over canopy from the locust sort of prohibited the sun from getting to that spot because the sun is, this is southerly exposure here, so it kind of blocked that. So we're asking for a COC. We've obviously quite a bit of money put into the landscaping out here, and I'll let Chuck take it from there. I do have some photos of those 2 areas. I forwarded them to Chuck, but I can pull those up if needed.
Yeah, I just want to, you were not sharing your screen, so the commission could not see what you're pointing to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all that.
Last week too.
Yeah. All right. I can do that, or Chuck, I didn't know if you wanted to point out those 2 areas, or so that's the hedge line right there, and
This
and
area
that is
here
the area of the hydrangeas that were proposed. About 20 feet of hydrangea bush that was proposed. Yes, right in there.
the
And
plants here, the group of plants here that they're plantings that would be closer to the resource area that just were not
right
there.
Right.
Can we see the photos?
Yeah. Do you, Chuck? Do you want me to pull up that email, or do you have that?
Yeah, if you have them ready.
I'm sorry.
If you have them ready.
Yeah, I can pull it up. Yep. Just got to go into my shared screen here.
But I want to see specifically that area if we could. Question.
All right, let me see if I have that. Okay.
Monkeys.
Those are not native.
I don't know what that's about.
Which my screen
looks like Lanesville to me.
All right, hold on. All right, so this is what was sent over to Chuck today. Okay, sorry about the delay. So I don't know if this is, so that's the existing hedge that comes along the left side of the driveway as you go up, and it's pretty well stabilized there. And then it drops down toward Plum Cove Beach. And that was the area. There is a pin oak that was planted, and it's done quite well. That was the one John Feener had recommended back when he was on the commission. So that is there. We have a natural locust there. On the other side, this is that euonymus that is climbing up a well-established locust tree here, and this is really done well here, and it takes away the shaded area. There's a long line of juniper and blue spruce that go up there. So I think those were the 2 areas that Chuck had concerns about. Here's that pin oak, and then here's the existing vegetation and then it drops right down. So that was just something that we thought would be better just stabilized with the existing growth. But it's up to the commission if they want that replaced.
Okay, Chuck, you want to do commissioner roll call comments?
Sure. Member Charpentier.
I have no comment.
Member Cook.
No comments.
Member Sargent.
No comment.
Member Terry.
What is that hedge? What kind of species is that? Is it native? Is it invasive?
It's English privet. The whole place was just overgrown with it, and that's why we took out a lot of it and came back. It came before the board with the native planting plan, but as you know, that's a very hardy species, and it's everywhere over there. And we took out quite a bit of it and replaced it with native plants.
Member Villa.
No further comment.
Member Jackson.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. First of all, I assume that the conditions where the privet hedge were the same as when you got the original NOI. And therefore, I'm not quite sure why you agreed to taking it down and putting in native plants and the 2 trees, which you obviously did not do. Second, what did you say was going to happen with the 5 hydrangeas that apparently are missing? And third, just a caution to our fellow commissioners. I think we have to be very careful not to treat this RCOC as we would any applicants, just because Mr. Judd is in front of us all the time, and we know him at this point. He is still an applicant as everybody else is on these.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect to be treated any differently. So again, that area there was along the hedge, as I said, is well established with roots along that the lower side of the driveway, and it was at that point we didn't want to disturb it to have erosion go down, because you do have runoff coming down that driveway, and it does a pretty good job taking up the runoff. The stabilization. And again, on the other side where the 4 hydrangeas were proposed, there's a lot of hydrangeas that were planted. And as I said, we exceeded what was on that planting plan. It's just those 2 areas I think are where Chuck has noticed that there was a discrepancy. And again, it's in my opinion, based on the photographs, I can pull them up again. I thought it was never really occurred to me that it was something that didn't meet the intent of the mitigation planting, where we did exceed the plants overall.
Okay, I mean, I don't know what else we rarely go against what our agent recommends, so if Chuck's not happy with it, I think we have to kind of move forward and try and getting him into a better place for the commission and for our agents. So what's the gap? Is it 2 or 3 plants, or are we talking a whole area that did not get foliated?
Chuck, would you like to see that hedge removed and planted with something different?
To me, those are areas that they're closer to the resource area, and it's areas that there's non-natives, that natives were supposed to be planted for the hedgerow area. So it's something I wanted the commission to, it wasn't a clear and cut yes for me.
No, I agree. That's why we're saying, I think it's
So something I wanted the commission to think about.
Nope. Okay. So might as well, I guess, Mr. Judd, you're going to have to adjust either the plan, or you can tell us right now what you're going to do to offset that mitigation issue.
I guess it would be up to the board. We have no problem adding more plants. Taking out the hedges again will cause some erosion temporarily anyway, as they're removed and new shrubs put in. We can certainly do that. That's not a problem. It's I guess sometimes in the past we've had, say, Norway maples, and I said, well, that's clearly not a native species, and then there were some comments from various board members. Well, even though it's not native, it does serve a purpose, and it does, provide certain habitat. I'm not sure but that was always something that historically was comments made by the commission, some commission members. Just because they are non-native doesn't necessarily mean they're all bad. So, we're really at the mercy of the board right now. Whatever you like, we'll do.
I don't see any point in pulling out hedges and then replanting them. Makes no sense to me. We have a hedge there that's growing and it looks good. I just don't see the point of pulling it out.
Yeah, I agree with Linda. I think we do more damage and that, trying to pull out the stuff. I think it's fine the way it is.
Okay, why don't we just quickly check? Why don't you do roll call comments so everyone gets a say here?
All right, Member Sharp's here.
Nothing else.
Member Cook.
No comments.
Member Sargent.
I'm wondering if there's, places to plant, a few trees. I'm more concerned about the lack of, trees being there, rather than the hydrangeas. I'm wondering if there's some other place where some trees could be planted. Thank you.
Member Terry?
I'm with Commissioner Charpentier on it.
Member Villa?
Yeah, I'm with Linda and Bill as well, I think, on this. I'm pretty good with it.
Member
I don't,
Jackson?
I don't like tearing up stuff too. That's all.
No further comments.
All right, so it's time to move this.
Okay.
COC.
Commissioner Jackson moves to approve our COC 0282165 at 2 Fortune Lane.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call. Member Charpentier?
Yes.
Member Cook?
Yes.
Member Sergeant?
Yes.
Member Terry?
Yes.
Member Villa?
Yes.
Member Jackson?
Abstain.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. Have a good night, or
Good night.
for others here. Okay, moving along, we have our COC. Oh, so Fortune Lane's done. I have to recuse myself from this next one, our COC.
Okay, we have our COC 0282710 at 4 Stewart Avenue, Richard Salvo from Engineering Alliance, Inc.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Sorry for the delay there. I think it kicked me out for a second as I got upgraded to
That's
the
okay.
panelist.
Name and address for the record, please.
Rick Salvo with Engineering Alliance, office at 194 Central Street, here this evening on behalf of Vincent Tessessary, who is the owner and was the applicant for 4 Stewart Avenue.
Okay, would you like to give us a brief description of where we are on this?
Sure would. With your permission, could I share my screen? I think I can, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Share. So this is the as-built drawing. To orientate you, Eastern Point Boulevard is down the bottom of the page. Stewart Avenue is on the right-hand side. There was a bordering vegetated wetland resource area that's shown in this area here. There was also 100-year floodplain and limited coastal bank, which is located along the bottom of this existing wall. This house was occupied by an existing single-family dwelling. The dwelling was rehabbed, and there was a significant amount of landscaping that was involved. Obviously, given the proximity to the resource areas, we had to make a filing with the Conservation Commission. If I scroll, this was the proposed plan that was approved by the commission. Just to point out the differences of what got built versus what got permitted. The driveway up in the northern part of the site here off of Stewart Avenue was called out to be a seashell driveway. That driveway was installed a little bit bigger, as I'll show you on the as-built. It was also paved instead of installed as a seashell driveway. That driveway is completely curbed, and I'll show you in some photos in a minute. That flow is not tributary to the wetland resource area. It goes out to a stone area along the edge of Stewart Ave, ultimately into the Stewart Ave drainage system. There was also an out parcel that was approved. An outbuilding that was approved in this area over here, which had its own separate driveway. That building did not get built, and it is not going to be built. So there's quite a bit of impervious area over here that was directly tributary to the BVW that was not built. And the site called for about 8 trees to be planted. This owner planted about 51 trees, 400 or 500 shrubs and grasses, They really went way above and beyond with a very good native landscape installation. This is the driveway that got built. You can see the curb there. This is the stone trench that runoff goes into. So while there was some more impervious surfaces that were built with the extensive amount of landscaping, as you can see, is all totaled over here in the landscaping list. And the fact that this dwelling was not built down here, the accessory dwelling was not built. The site really did result in an overall net improvement to that resource area. So there are some discrepancies. In our opinion, the additional plantings and the accessory building not being built certainly was a significant net improvement to the project. And I think it really outweighs the fact that there was some more impervious surface that was put in this area over here. But I guess with that, I turn it back to the commission for any questions or comments that you have.
Okay. Chuck, you want to do roll call commissioner comments?
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Cook,
I'd just like to know the difference in the impervious surfaces between the driveway and the accessory dwelling that wasn't. Are they equivalent?
Driveway's a little bit bigger. Let me just give me 1 second here. Let me just get to a different.
I just couldn't try to do the math based on what I was looking at on the drawings.
Yeah, I think I thought so let me just see here. So the driveway was expanded by about 1,900 square feet, and the dwelling was a little over 1,000 square feet. So there's a delta of about 900 square feet.
Okay, but there were a total of 51 trees added.
Yeah, 51 trees were added, 407 shrubs were planted, and 298 perennials and grasses.
Okay.
What's the area of the original driveway that is also paved and not pervious?
Let me just go back to the plan here. A second.
The additional areas was 1999, I believe said, and then the original area is also impervious now.
Yep. The original area is by impervious. Original area, I don't know the number off the top of my head. I'm gonna guess it's probably about 2,200 square feet, somewhere in that ballpark. It's bigger than so what got added. Oh, you can't see my screen anymore. Hold on 1 second. Let's come back here.
So we're looking at about 4,200 square feet.
Yeah, probably around 4,000 in total. So what got added was this piece in here, because he added a garage door entrance over here. What was originally permitted was this piece in here. But like I said, all this all flows out and down Stewart and hits that stone area between the Stewart Ave edge of pavement and the property line. All in here.
But that area is not going to catch all the water from that upper driveway too. I mean, it's not infiltrating into that stone area. It's running off into Stewart Avenue and then down to the catch basin.
On Stewart Avenue, that's correct.
And then those catch basins basically dump the water out onto the beach across the street.
Correct.
So originally, if that water was to infiltrate, it would have gone down into the wetland before it would cross under. Um, all right. Sorry, wait. Commissioner comments?
We'd done, where were we on comments? He was responding to somebody's, and sir, we're going to go through all the comments and then you can respond to them all at once.
I think, was that you, Member Cook? Did I ask about that?
Yep, that's, I'm done.
Okay, Member Sargent?
Yeah, I'm concerned about, the increased runoff with no treatment going to a public bathing beach. I'm also concerned about the process. If you're making this much change, there should have been an amendment or something. It's like it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. It just doesn't set right with me. Thank you.
Member Materi?
Yeah, I echo that last concern. This is a pretty substantial change. You've almost essentially doubled the size of the driveway from what it was, and then you've turned it into impervious instead of pervious. So you're losing all of that infiltration that would have fallen on that driveway area that would have been vegetated and would have been seashells. So this to me it seems like a substantial change from what was originally planned.
Yeah, so I didn't mention, the house is quite a bit bigger than the original house that was there. The house, we did install, there were 2 dry wells installed. So the whole roof of the house does get infiltrated. If you take the roof of the house getting infiltrated and you compare that along with the outbuilding not being built, then it's almost a net zero at that point in the game. There was also, like I said, $250,000 worth of landscaping that was installed here that wasn't contemplated as part of the original plan. That's all native landscaping, which was a significant increase over what was shown there.
Yeah, so.
Okay, can we finish up commissioner comments?
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry, is it my turn?
Yep, Member Jackson.
Okay. You have the driveway is much larger and you paved the original as well as added pavement. How big was the outbuilding supposed to be? Square
The
feet?
outbuilding was a little over 1,000 square feet.
Over 1,000, okay. And how much impervious have you added to the original house?
I don't know. I'd have to do that math for you. I mean, this was the original house footprint. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, I'm not sharing anymore. Let me go back to share. This was the original house footprint. You can see it in the background here. And
Yeah,
this is how
okay.
much grows. So the house,
Ooh.
almost doubled in size.
All right. From what was the square footage of the original house, or what's the square footage of the current one? I don't care which.
Yeah, I could get you that math. I'm gonna guess it's probably about 1,200 square feet, probably compared to about, double that footprint size.
Okay. That I'd like to know basically the square footage of the vegetation that you planted, including the trees, and the square footage of the impervious surface that you have added. And I'll give you credit for the 1,000 square foot outbuilding. But I'd like to see that math, and I also want to see how you plan to address the runoff that is not being retained on your property.
Okay, yeah, and it's really just the driveway is the only runoff that's not being retained. Everything else, this site is pretty much a bowl. None of the yard area runs off. Everything goes into that low point, that bordering vegetated wetland resource area. So it's really just the driveway area.
Okay, you have
And
your
I can
homework.
be happy to calculate those numbers for you and get you those numbers, and we can run a calculation on that infiltration trench that's there. I know it wasn't built as an infiltration trench, but that's quite frankly the way that it functions. So I'd be happy to run those calculations for you as well.
Okay, do you think you can have those ready for November 6th?
I can.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson moves, so I guess we don't need to continue this. We'll just see you November 6th.
Right.
Okay, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you very
Are
much.
there any other comments from the commissioners? Peter, were you going to say something else?
No,
Okay,
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, we'll see you November 6th, sir.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Rob, you back yet?
Has
All right.
somebody from Farrington showed up yet?
Yes, looks like Mr. Bornhoff is back and has his hand up, so let me
Okay.
promote him to.
Rob, you want to do Farrington?
Yeah, for the record, Rob Bellows rejoined the commission. As soon as I could find Farrington in my notes, I'll bring it up. Hold on. All right. We do have 3025s as the ZEP number, correct, Chuck?
Yes.
Okay, next up is notice of intent 028, DP number 3025, 29 Farrington Avenue, aka 12 Race Cove, Eric Bornoff, for construction of an elevated boardwalk and bordering vegetated wetland and coastal dune. Eric Bornhoff representing. Can you hear us, Eric? Hello, Eric. Hello, Eric. You are definitely unmuted at this time, but we can't hear you. Can you hear us? Oh boy. Technical difficulties. Hello? You're not muted, so you should be able to hear us. Okay. I don't know what to do. Why don't we shift down to enforcement order 2404 Stanwood Point? Circle back on this, Chuck, again.
Yep.
Dropped off now anyway, so.
I took away his permission to talk.
Okay. Thank you for taking care of that. Next up then would be is enforcement order 24-04 6 Stanwood Point. Mary Rimmer Environmental LLC representing. Is she available? Yep, there she is.
I was letting Mary
Yes,
in, but
thank
Mary
you,
left.
Mary Rimmer from Rimmer Environmental for the record. And I just, I'm here just to report on the status of the mitigation at 4 Stanwood Point, 4 and 6 Stanwood Point, lot 2A and lot 3A. And as you recall, we had planting proposed to restore salt marsh vegetation under the buildings that were removed. And we did get permission from you to do that work. I've been in touch with Chuck and letting him know when the planting was occurring. I'm assuming he's done a site visit. I have some images I can share with you of what it looked like as of today. And the Disticus baccata was planted in this area here. Actually, I'll scroll down to, this is the planting occurring back on August 29th. And this is what it looks like as of today. It is greening up a little bit. Some of the lower plants closest to the water didn't do as well as the upper ones here. So anything that doesn't survive next, through the winter and early spring will replace probably with Spartina alterniflora there. And then also along the edge here, we had proposed to put in some marsh elder and switchgrass. The marsh elder is in, the switchgrass is scheduled to be put in, scheduled to arrive on Wednesday next week. So we'll be putting that in as well. So it looks like it's, it's moving along. There's additional recruitment that's happening along the edges. And I think that's it for that one. And we had also wanted to discuss the number 4 Stanwood, where the house is under construction right now, and whether or not we can find a way to move forward on completion of that work, which involves landscaping around the house. All the house is in. I have some images for that as well that I can share with you. Again. This is the condition of the houses. Can you all see this screen okay?
Yep.
It's been built, the driveway's not in, there's a stormwater basin near the street that's outside of the resource area, just a tiny bit clips the riverfront area, but that work is outside the resource area. And just, completion of a porch and a little the bulkhead that goes right here to the basement, so the hole's already dug, just needs to put in the form right there, and landscaping around the building that needs to be completed. So we'd like to see whether or not that the commission would be in favor of sort of issuing another friendly enforcement order to allow that work to occur. I know that the Permit Extension Act is still, making its way through the legislature, and there's some thought that it might still go through this November, but the applicant would like to button up this project before the winter and get it, sodded and stabilized. So the only way right now, without an active filing, because the order of conditions has expired, we would need some mechanism to allow that work to occur.
Okay. I don't see anyone else out there. So, yeah, why don't you do commissioner roll call comments, Joe?
Yep, Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Cook,
No comments.
Member Sergeant,
I'd be in favor of a friendly enforcement order.
Member Materi,
Yeah, I have in my notes that we thought that previously discussed that an enforcement order was not appropriate and maybe a new NOI would be more appropriate, given that the order of conditions had expired, so.
Member Bell,
I'm okay with a friendly enforcement order.
Member Jackson.
I'm okay with one as well, but I'd like to hear your viewpoint, Chuck.
I mean, I guess I can see the argument for either, but it should be covered under something. There's continued work in a resource area. I guess I don't quite understand why they can't do another NOI. But I think it can be conditioned either way.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it as well, the friendly, but I also, maybe we tighten down how often we see you, Ms. Rimmer.
Sure.
If we see in 6 months that bulkhead is still not finished and things aren't being done. But I think that might be the next step, is to just monitor it for us a little clearer and give us more updates.
Yes.
Could
that would
we,
be great.
would it be appropriate for them to present a plan of all the remaining items and their timeline on when they might be accomplished?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Do that.
Can I ask Chuck a question? I seem to recall that DEP said that an NOI is asking for permission, but enforcement order is asking for restoration. Is this restoration, or are we trying to grant permission? Chuck?
Can I respond to that, or?
I asked Chuck.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's correct, that, an order of condition allows somebody to do something, whereas an enforcement order is more of a directive to do something. So yes, that's correct.
Is this restoration or is this permission that we would be giving them?
Well, it's not necessarily restoration, but it would be for uncompleted activities. But I understand the point you're raising, that maybe filing a new notice of intent might be more appropriate.
So just to clarify it, they had a notice of intent, they got an order of conditions. They just didn't complete the work before the expiration happened. And now they have to complete that work. It's not like that there was no non-compliance or anything with the original order of conditions. It just was, they didn't do it before the time ran out. Is that correct?
Yes.
I don't know. To me, I think they needed a new NOI.
Commissioners, how do we feel? NOI or soft enforcement? What do you want?
May I make it a comment just before you just?
Sure.
Just two quick points. One is that the notice of intent will certainly take several months to go through the process to get the plans updated and get to you and get through appeal periods and whatnot. So, and he's very much interested in completing the work as soon as possible. There is a neighbor who's been very litigious, and so there's a good possibility that a notice of intent will get appealed. And so there's a timeline issue, but also, you know, in terms of completing the work right now, the site is, it's relatively stable, but there's uncovered soil, bare soil that needs to be stabilized. So, if we can do it through an enforcement order, we can correct that sooner than later. This is similar to a situation where, you know, somebody might have walked away from a project and use an enforcement order to make sure that they finish it and complete it and stabilize it as according to the plan. So I can certainly understand your point of view about the notice of intent, but I just wanted to point that out to you, that in terms of the timeline, the applicant is very much willing to do this work. For reasons somewhat beyond his control, this didn't get done in a timely way, and he'd like to finish that up this season if possible.
Can we do an enforcement order with the new NOI as part of that condition? Allow them to do the work, start the work, get it stabilized, but in the meantime, you need to create a new NOI. Basically, that says, you know, you're doing the exact same thing that we'd already approved, but it's gonna be new. But we have an enforcement order to allow it to get stabilized, so we don't leave it in this unstabilized condition.
I guess my question would be, what would a new NOI accomplish beyond requiring the submission of a plan and timeline, the steps that they're going to take and the timeline within which they're going to do it? What would be the advantage of an NOI over a soft enforcement order that requires that? And honestly, I'd like to see them back before 6 months. I would think 3 or 4 would be a better timeline.
Mhm.
I would like to see the work get done quickly now at this point, rather than put in more paperwork, which I don't know is gonna make any difference in the long run.
I agree with that, Linda.
Just ahead and just stick with enforcement and
Stick
vote
with
on
enforcement, get it done, close it out.
Chuck,
Well-
does Chuck have any further input?
No, I mean, I'm okay with that approach if that's how you want to proceed with it.
What's the difference between site stabilization and whatever they were planning on doing for the work?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just some final grading and you know, loam and either seed or sod, I'm not sure which way he's planning on doing that. And completing the exterior, you know, the bulkhead and the, you know, it's essentially finished, the driveway and the stormwater management area out front.
Then the
Really the only,
planting,
pardon me, and the planting, obviously, yeah.
and then there needs to be, 2 years of monitoring on the mitigation plantings.
Yep, and that's acceptable as well. You can see the property next door already, I mean, is well planted in excess of what the plan was originally, so.
Is there anything negative that we could do if we said do a notice of intent and it took 6 months? Are the plants endangered? Now at all in any way, shape, or form?
I mean, there is some potential for runoff of siltation down the slope towards the marsh.
Okay.
It's fairly stable. It's uneven enough and it's sandy enough that it's probably not a huge issue, but
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, commissioners, let's make a call here.
I support the enforcement order.
Okay, why don't we move for that then? Does anyone else wanna formally address
Okay.
this, enforcement order, Joe?
That, I mean,
Okay.
can we do an enforcement order to achieve stabilization and then require a NOI for whatever extra plantings are beyond, above and beyond what is required for minimum stabilization?
I think that's a fair offset for the client and for the environment.
Would that, where would the bulkhead and the driveway and some of the remaining exterior work, would that fall under the enforcement or the order or the new NOI? Is the new NOI just for the mitigation plantings or for the remaining work besides stabilization?
I think we'd have to capture it all, wouldn't we? Both.
I feel like all that stuff has to be NOI. I mean, it's not the minimum required to stabilize soils.
Could we do an RDA just to simplify the filing, especially since this extension might actually happen and then it all becomes moot, but you would have something on record.
How do we feel about that?
I don't know. I think personally, let's give them the enforcement order, require them to get that stabilization, the grass, the bulkhead, and that stuff put in place now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Bill.
And it, basically an enforcement order to complete the stuff that wasn't completed in the NOI.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
That
I
could,
don't know what else is. Chuck, why don't you do roll call comments for an enforcement order? Let's get everyone's.
Member Charpentier,
I'm good with the enforcement order.
Member Cook,
The enforcement order.
Member Sergeant,
I'm on the fence.
Member Terry,
I like Bill's last suggestion about enforcement order to order them to complete what they didn't complete in the last order of conditions.
Member Bella,
Yeah, I'm in favor of the soft enforcement.
Member Jackson,
Yeah, I could go that way.
Okay.
I guess when do you think you might be able to have the list of things that need to be completed and the timeline?
If Joe Pellich is on the line, he might be able to tell you that.
I think we'd want it in
Yeah. We'd rather not. We've had a long night.
Okay, then I can email that to you in the morning or sometime tomorrow.
Okay.
If that is okay.
Yep.
I don't know precisely what the schedule is, but with that, if you give us a window to complete the work, that would be useful.
Yeah, can we approve an enforcement order tonight?
Yeah.
And then,
Well, you'll have to ratify it after it's been drafted.
yeah, we can ratify an enforcement order tonight and then have the documents sent over because the enforcement order is going to say, do what you were supposed to have done.
He's saying by January 31st, he'll have it completed.
So when is it reasonable? I know this was just asked, but what would be a reasonable window for the plan and timeline?
That's what he's saying. All tree work.
I'm looking for our timeline of when you're going to be done by January 31st. When do you see these various projects being completed? Do you see something by next week, something that's 2 weeks later?
No, he's saying all the work, everything. The remaining work by January 31st. You want to get, maybe you want to give a little bit extra room to.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to give any extra room.
Time, he's saying the 31st. He's gonna start next week. If you get the approval.
Yeah, I'd like to approve an enforcement order tonight that basically says they need to complete the work from the previous NOI. And if we can ratify it tonight, that means they can get started with the work right away and they can come in 2 weeks and present the details of exactly what they have to clean up.
I agree. I'm good with that.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to approve the drafting of a enforcement order for 6 Stanwood Point and 4 Stanwood Point, EO 2404, and
We already have one on 6. This would be a new enforcement.
okay.
report, so.
What's the EO on this one? It's just a new one? New one?
It hasn't-
Okay,
Yeah, I'll have to sign it.
okay. To be ratified at the next meeting. And that the applicant will submit a list of the projects that need to be completed with a timeline of when they will be completed.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Member Sergeant.
Yes.
Member Lettieri.
Yes.
Member Bella.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes, and for clarification, the timeline and list of projects includes all of the work that was not completed under the previous order of conditions. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Okay.
Okay, so I had seen Mr. Bornhoff down there again. We do have a hand up now on Samsung. Maybe this is Mr. Bornhoff.
Hello? You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Press star 9. That's to raise your hand, right? Yeah.
Hello, sir. Can you hear us? All right. Still nothing. Try and unmute yourself, sir. All right, we're gonna have to wrap this up. If you can hear us, we're gonna put you on the next meeting agenda.
To vote to move it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We gotta move to continue,
Yeah.
Farron.
Yeah, Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0283025 to the Conservation Commission meeting of November 6th.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Member Sergeant.
Yes.
Member Lettieri.
Yes.
Member Bella.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
All right.
Move to adjourn.
Wow, it's only 7 o'clock.
Hey,
Wow,
It's 8 o'clock.
sorry, it's almost 8 o'clock.
7:50.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Member Sergeant.
Yes.
Member Lettieri.
Yes.
Bella.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Good
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Good night.
See you in a couple weeks. Be safe.